and people definitely recognize that they're a strong team and they have a chance to upset or even take the top spots.
They could definitely come out of the gates just be like super strong, or they could just falter. I think they're definitely a wild card.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to day 2 of the North American LCS Summer Split. And before we get into our third match of the day between Cloud9 and Cursed, I'd like to welcome Counterlogic Gaming's AD carry Doublelift to the desk. So that game was absolutely crazy. How would you sum that up?
A lot of throws and a lot of horrible like bronze level play. So it ended up being really entertaining, but it was really frustrating to actually play that game.
So what was so frustrating about it?
We were just like arguing internally about everything that could have went wrong that game. Just went totally wrong. Like we didn't expect them to 2v2 us, and so we picked in like a really weak lane, and then Chaucer got first blooded, and like they just ended up 2v2ing us with Sona Varus versus Janna Graves, which is like a really bad matchup, and we played it really bad. And honestly, I think the score was like 0-5 early game, and then we just like randomly came back at a dragon fight. So yeah, that whole game was just like a giant mess.
I have a question about that lane then, because they clearly had an early lead. You said it was a trash lane. You didn't even quote-unquote play it very well. You held up in minions for a while. How did you hold on to that lane?
Well, QtPie doesn't CS well, and I CS well. So even though it looked like I was like holding even, really he was out-pressuring me and humping me at tower and stuff. So it was just not fun to play that lane. But after I got a kill, it kind of snowballed me into coming back.
Yeah, so you mentioned it was a bit of a frustrating game, and obviously over 70 minutes there's room for some frustration. What was kind of a big moment from that game that you can just talk about?
The biggest moment, I think, was about like 40-50 minutes into the game where me and Link are discussing which items we should sell to buy GA. And like we just kept thinking like of like Link's like, I'm gonna sell my boots and my hourglass to buy like
At all for those types?
I think about is like 6 items and how to play against 6-item teams. Graves isn't the best 6-item AD actually because of his low range, especially against like double AP, which is like a lot of wombo. So I ended up just thinking about like how I should play these team fights and like what we can do to just close out this ridiculous game.
All right, so then let's talk about CLG as a whole then. Game was obviously crazy, but you guys are just starting out your season. First game looked rough. This game started to look a lot better as it matured. How's CLG progressing so far?
Well, I wouldn't say this game looked better because we, I think we played just as badly as we did against Velocity, but Dig made a lot more mistakes than Velocity did. And I don't know, CLG, we have like a lot of internal problems and stuff, but overall, like I see the potential definitely. Everyone is like really mechanically skilled on our team. But we make a lot of really horrible decisions, and everyone just has these moments where they just choke and derp out, and it happens every game, and it's a little frustrating, but hopefully we can overcome that.
What are the biggest challenges to this new lineup?
The fact that everyone's new and uncomfortable. Like Chaucer is not like back to his original form. He's just playing like a normal support, but hopefully as time goes on, he can just kind of get that confidence back and start playing like his normal self.
How long do you think it'll take for Chaucer to kind of get back to that Doublelift Chaucer lane that you guys thought was so good?
Yeah, I don't know. I was really optimistic with my original predictions, but I mean now to be more realistic, I think it will take him this entire LCS season to just kind of slowly rise back up.
And final question for you here. Talk about some other teams in the LCS. Next matchup is Cloud9 versus Curse. Do you have any quick thoughts about those teams?
I think Cloud9. I thought Cloud9 was going to be very overrated because everyone was thinking how great they were, and I was like, I don't think they're that good because they just came from the amateur scene. But it turns out they're actually a lot better than I anticipated. I think in part due to their practice against TSM. So I have to give it to Cloud9. They're really good.
Cool.
All right, thank you very much for your time, Doublelift, and best of luck to you and your team as you progress through the season. Hopefully you guys can get to that spot you really want to be. Again, thank you very much for your time. But guys, we've got more games coming today and the rest of the week. It's time for our third match of the day with Cloud9 versus Curse. Now, coming into opening day, a lot of people were talking about how good Cloud9 was based on their tournament wins back when they were known as Quantic. But I don't think anybody could have guessed just how dominating they would be against some of North America's best teams.
And after yesterday, expectations for Cloud9 are through the roof. Their win against Dignitas was dominating, and their win against TSM was the best match of the day. Sneaky also had a great opening day for Cloud9. In fact, it doesn't get any better. He didn't die in either one of his games, 12-0-11, specifically some team fight positioning on Draven, which is super difficult in that last one against TSM.
And while opening day didn't go so well for Curse, a win against Cloud9 would give them a perfect 2-0 record against the LCS rookie teams, thanks to their win against Velocity Esports in the first game of the day.
And Curse looked a lot better today as a team. Edward and Kopp were meshing a little bit better, but Edward actually looked more comfortable. He landed a lot of big blitzcrank grabs that cued a couple big plays for them. But the MVP of that game was really Voyboy of Curse. His top lane Tryndamere was just ripping through Velocity. The counter pick, just him being comfortable on Tryndamere and just playing his game.
Playing his game has been such a big, really impact for Curse when they're laden with so much individual talent. A playmaker like Voyboy, that's kind of the strat you want to see as a Curse fan, I feel like. Just like Voyboy going ham is like, that's number one.
That's the way it works. See you, nerds. Just diving in and getting triple kills.
I want one of those sounds of the games you just says see you, nerds after triple kill. I want one of those in LCS. Guys, we're going to get ourselves into the game. Let's take a look at the lineups. On the blue side, it is Cloud9. Top lane is Balls, jungle is Meteos. Mid laner is High, AD carry is Sneaky, and the support Lemon Nation.
And in the red corner, we have Curse. Voyboy in the top lane, St. Vicious in the jungle, Nijaki with his hood on in mid lane, Kopp on AD, and of course Edward in support.
So these teams are getting themselves ready to go into the game, and it's an interesting mix of it's kind of like this interesting mix of news sort of here because Cloud9, right, still new to the season, a lot of hype. They've certainly lived up to it so far, but we've seen teams just kind of go from good to bad and back throughout the course of the season. And of course, Curse, they've still got to live up to their own hype from picking up Edward.
And it's going to be very interesting to see how Cloud9 deals with their first loss because it's going to happen at some point, and they haven't necessarily kind of earned their stripes here at the LCS yet. They've just been granted a bunch of immediate success and hype. And every pro player we've talked to today saying, like, they're overhyped or actually they're really good. But only time will tell for this one. And Curse is a team who, even though they're new as well because of Edward, have earned their stripes. They've played a lot of regular season games. They've shown themselves to be a top performer.
It's so interesting, too, because Curse, like, forever have been a fourth place team. It's weird. Like, they came in, you know, before LCS and were like, they'd hit fourth right under Dignitas, CLG, and TSM, and then LCS started, and they evaporated teams.
Yeah.
They just crushed people, and then at the very end, they got back to fourth. Now they got Edward, and we're like, we might see #1 Curse, and then we don't know yet.
Way to rub it in, man. No, I'm kidding. Curse gets the Tryndamere ban. Now they're up against Cloud9. This is a contender for the top 4. I don't think the top 4, bottom 4 moniker will exist this split in the LCS, and if it does, they will be new teams in those spots. So it all begins now.
It all does begin. The bans coming through pretty fast for Cloud9. They knew exactly what they wanted to get rid of. Meanwhile, very unsurprising bans, and immediately they say, yep, you gave us Kha'Zix. Thank you very much.
Well, the other bands were Jace, Ryze, and Kennen, and they wouldn't want him playing any of those things. So this is just a matter of too many champions being able to get through. And that could be top lane, could be mid lane, but we know it's going to be farming a lot.
Oh, yes, yes. In fact, when we saw TSM play it, they dedicated all their farm, and Reggie just cleaned up every fight. But it's Curse's turn to make some picks. They've locked in Elise. We've seen her in a lot of locations. Support, jungle, and top, the most common. They've got to get one more pick for themselves.
The top lane Elises have been playing quite well. Even if the laning phase for Nii and Tanso didn't work out that well for him, the potential is there.
The potential is
there.
there.
And Voyboy had played a lot of Elise early on in the spring split. Then Elise received like a multitude of nerfs and just continued to be on because throughout all that, her damage was never really decreased, and that's what people are using her for now.
Yeah, the big assassin, and whoa, Draven.
Kopp's Draven. This is new.
Yeah.
This is new stuff for Cop. This is not a passive AD carry, guys.
No.
You run at people with Draven, and you got to be super careful. They practiced it for like the day they had to practice. I saw that there's a Blitzcrank plus Draven, Cop, Edward clip on the interwebs right now, and that is a bold move by them against Cloud9.
So here we go. They've got to make some choices now on Cloud9. And I think as Sneaky plays so much Draven, they've got to know this matchup. And they say, yeah, Sona's going to hold up in lane. If they even 2v2, they're going to grab Meteos, another Zac.
A lot of the pick that Cop did for Draven could just be because they're keeping it away from Sneaky. It's a bit of a counter pick. And Sona's made out of paper at like level 1, so you got to be real careful. And I'm sure the Cloud9 knows how that's going to be working out. Getting the Zac as well fits their team comp. Meteos plays so much Zac. This is Cloud9 just getting their champions once again while getting a few of them taken away by Curse.
You know what's interesting, though? Speaking of champions getting taken away, Twisted Fate, damn it, he clicked it before I could say it. Twisted Fate has been left to 7th, basically, as a champion, and Jackie's going to go for it.
And he went for it last game as well, so not only are they getting it, he's going to be pretty comfortable on it. Even though it's the nerf Twisted Fate, he's still got the global. He's still got the 2-second stun on his gold card when he maxes it up in rank, and another Blitzcrank for Edward, so they're going for a lot of similar things that they had in the previous game.
Yeah, they're really going for that comfort pick right there. The same sort of composition coming on through, but Cloud9 have locked in their total group of champions, and we can see the lanes coming through here with Ezreal and Rumble grabbed up.
3.7 patch, so this is a Rumble nerf, but his ultimate is unchanged from what it used to be, so it's still going to come in and equalize team fights, and I specifically like Sneaky's Ezreal pick. When he played Ezreal in the qualifiers, he did blue Ezreal every game, and even though yesterday we had the Ezreal Draven matchup in the TSM burst Cloud9 game, where it was actually Cloud9 did not have the Ezreal.
Yeah.
But if you can keep your distance from Draven and keep him out of fights with the Ezreal, that's when it's effective. So I look to see Sneaky trying to zone out Cop in team fights.
It's going to be a rough spot. We'll see if Cop can keep himself safe, because that will be a difficulty for him. New to Draven, we'll see if he can pull it out. But right now it's Maokai being grabbed up here for St. Vicious. Nautilus was there and he's like, no, Maokai's the pick for me.
Just ganks on top of ganks right now for St. Vicious. He used to play a fair bit of Maokai, but it doesn't necessarily fit his preferred jungle playstyle. It's a very gank-heavy jungler. Don't necessarily carry with Maokai, but St. Vicious does pick up more farm than most, so he should get a lot of tank items, and he will probably pick a lane and camp it.
So there's an interesting thing I see with this Maokai as well, just even outside of the ganks, is that when you play with a Kha'Zix, you tend to overlay a lot of AoE so you can soften guys up and just go reset happy.
Yeah.
Maokai is going to give damage reduction to basically his entire team and maybe soften up that initial blow and keep Kha'Zix from going all out.
And it's also going to be hard for Cloud9 to touch St. Vicious because Maokai's passive charges up based on spell casts, and Blue Ezreal and like Kha'Zix Rumble, those cast more spells than most regular characters. So St. Vicious, as long as he's auto-attacking, will be healing a huge amount in this game.
So that's going to be a fun thing to watch if Saint can keep himself tanky and make all that happen for his team as that jungle playmaker here. Getting himself into the load screen. A very excellent 5v5 out in front of us today. Cloud9 looking to keep their undefeated streak. It's funny because Curse started last split with a very, very strong record, like 7-0 or so. And now Cloud9's looking to go in their footsteps.
And we're only 8 games into the season. Cloud9's the only team that could still go 28-0.
Yeah.
Everyone else has already lost. That's how close the LCS is going to be in North America this split. But, hey, maybe they're going to make it to 3-0, man. Anything's possible.
It's going to be Curse standing in the way here, guys. The game is loaded up, and we are good to go. On the blue side is Cloud9. On the red side is Curse. They're leaving out of the bases. We got a game in our hands.
So we haven't really seen many planned First Bloods. We've seen a few derpy First Bloods so far in the LCS as these teams are kind of feeling each other out. We've also seen High consume his red elixir 30 seconds into the game by accident before. I don't think he's going to do it this time. I think he's got his twitchy
31.
fingers off. No, he didn't do it, but he got me for a second.
So he has survived the early game without any mistakes. High so far. Kha'Zix ultimate might burn that at some point. Elimination. Oh, he gets hooked by Edward. Would you believe it? And the team is there. Can they jump onto him?
He's going to die.
Damage the gold card. Oh, Edward, you are so good. He knew he would ward Tribe Rush, warded Baron, and hooked him.
That is scouting paying off. That's the same ward spot that Lemon Nation reached for in day 1, and Edward just punished it right off the bat. The only way that I feel like Lemon could have escaped that is he would have flashed directly back over the Baron wall, but even then they might have chased him down. Great opener by Curse.
Wow, absolutely beautiful open for these guys. Curse have started out strong. I want to see where this goes from here. I'm still in awe of that play. I'm sorry, guys, but that I have not seen a play like that ever, so that was awesome.
And as a fellow support, Edward knows the spot you're going to run into in order to get the right ward spot there, because there's a certain way you kind of have to angle your camera to get the Tri-Brush ward to go through the wall just like that. Everybody knows how difficult those wards are, specifically Skara.
Okay, well, the game is afoot. Meteos in his own jungle right here takes the Wolves, going for blue buff here, starting it out strongly. Ball's in high up now a little bit. Meanwhile, the rest of Cloud9, this looks very similar to the Velocity Esports game. Najaki across the wall saying, hey, back on out. But we got some lane swaps.
It's even a little bit similar to the game we just watched, because the top laner got the first blood, and he's going to be 1v1ing. So how well is Voyboy going to do in this lane against Balls? Because Rumble's early game is also hindered a fair bit by his recent nerfs, so I want to really track that and see if he gets any help.
All right, now the lane to watch might just be the 2v1 in mid and the 2v1 at bottom. We've got Cop and Edward making their plays over in the mid lane, but of course Edward will be able to roam around with that Blitzcrank, and Hai's going to have a rough time starting this one out.
He really will. Trying to shut down the Kazakhs is not a bad choice, but Edward's also trying to shut down the jungle a little bit. Looks like Meteos is going to be able to take away this red buff because he does have a smite, and the Blitzcrank two-man mid to get buff control at least wasn't successful. Now it's about just shutting down Hai.
I feel like every time we see a blitz in mid, we're going to expect it's going to be some... Oh, wow, the damage from Sneaky was nice. Took a turret shot, but again, every time we see Blitzcrank mid, I feel like it's going to be compared to Patoy, and you're never going to see a result like that.
No, you're not going to see the double buff steal. It's a once in a couple times.
Once in a split?
Once in a split thing.
All right, well, here comes St. Vicious, though, already helping out his teammate in the bottom lane. He got his buffs and said, hey, get off my turret. And he's going to be protecting that like the tree he is.
And Cloud9's got to be a little careful because Lemon Nation has no flash available
Oh
for a
my
while
god, that
yet.
pull. Sorry.
That's all right.
Good. They just grabbed him from so far away. Hai got dunked out pretty hard.
Well, that's a lot of harass he's going to have to deal with, and since the red elixir is now 350 gold, he's going to have to take a bit more time to come up with that health bot.
Okay, so Sneaky and Elimination still 2v2 in this bottom lane. Maokai still defending Jack, getting some harass down there, but we're about to reach the turret. See if anything can happen from this.
Well, now it's just a matter of St. Vicious sitting in this lane and trying to keep Nijaki safe. He's not really pulling off any ganks, he's just leeching a bunch of experience. Level 4 by 4 minutes will give him a fair bit of threat. People really underestimate Maokai's early damage. They only think of his ability to catch a target. It's about him killing it once he gets there.
And so the one thing to watch for as well is how these junglers also hold up with their mid laners, because you basically add jungle and mid lane farm together, and that's really the math on how many minions have gotten killed, how many went to the turret and whatnot, and they're sitting actually pretty equal right now, 27 on both sides. So far these lanes haven't been denied too hard.
Not at all, and Edward's spending a lot of time trying to get some jungle action going on, but I think the creep wave saw him as he was walking by, or at least Curse is telling him to get out of there. Also, he's leaving Cop kind of by himself against Kazakhs. Here comes a potential gank on Lemon Nation, though. No flash.
No flash. He's going to get stunned, knocked up, pushed backwards. Lemon's not in a good spot. Burns a summoner heal. He is going to go down. However, the damage back on Edward's pretty high. Jackie's got to turn back and tank the Q. Another kill picked up for Curse.
The Ignite did end up ticking out, but here comes Meteos. I don't know if Curse has the fight potential to hold this off.
They're going to try. They jump on into Sneaky. Edward flashes for a knock-up and just runs right away. Can Saint and Jackie do enough damage? Sneaky trying to run, and Saint is going to pick that one up. 3-0 Curse.
Big time damage. However, the kills went to the jungler and the support, so we'll see how that carries through. Now the 1v1 turns to top line for Voyboy.
Oh, and the damage is there on the balls. The shield comes across. Boy's going to flash away from turret aggro and survive that. 4-0 Curse.
This is a great start for Curse. Our undefeated team 2-0 Cloud9 is not off to a good start, and Curse getting their feet in the water a little bit here. Hai again coming down bottom. Let's see if Curse can turn another one. Oh, Nijaki, he's dead.
He's knocking up Nijaki. Hai shows up and says hello. Ignite goes across, flashes to make sure he has the damage, and Cloud9 will equalize it. Now they've got a power play on this turret.
Let's see if they can actually decide to push this one down. They haven't gotten much damage on it previously. I wonder how Curse is going to be able to hold that, because Cop's not going over there. Edward's making a break for it, and that could be a lot of damage that falls. I don't think they have the minions to actually get the turret down, though.
Not quite. It's down about to half health. Sneaky shows up as well, but they've got one turret shot left in their minion line. And they're going to wait for the next wave here. Edward's still not showing up, but Cop, he's making a lot of moves here in this mid lane. 48 minions on him.
Yeah.
This Draven has been left alone to scale, and he's doing great.
And he's also leveling a lot too, because he hasn't had a support really in his lane, and also because High went bottom lane for that kill potential. He hasn't been harassed at all in the 1v1 matchup, but it did cost the turret bottom lane for Curse.
That's going to bring the gold a little bit closer to equal here. 1,000 gold separates these guys. Jackie still only level 4, not yet ready for the Destiny, but he'll start making some moves for that team some more. High will try to hold on to this mid lane, see if he can do it.
I think Cop has to be a little careful now that High's hit level 6 from getting kind of jumped on, but because Draven is level 6 as well with Barrier, if High jumped on Cop, he might just get out-traded. I'm not sure.
Well, it's going to be rough. We'll see what happens for these guys. Meteos just going to take down some Wraiths. Cop, again, fighting up against High. Maybe he can get a stand aside on a leap or something like that. We'll see how the matchup progresses. Assassins versus AD carries tends to be a pretty fickle one.
Yeah, I'm not sure how that one's going to work out, especially when Draven's almost like a bruiser AD carry, just the way he feels early on in the game because he crushes you for so much damage with those Qs. Late game, he turns into the squishy, but right now it's just kind of Cop's the bully almost.
And you can see that High is giving him a lot of respect there. Uses W from far away, then backs on out despite the red elixir. And there's Edward trying to get a little bit greedy onto that blue buff, but High's going to make him run away. Meteos will be giving this one over to High pretty easily.
And Curse is giving Edward a lot of freedom right now. They're letting him go wherever he wants, considering he's so new to the team. He's been bottom lane creating kills. He's trying to invade jungle buffs. He's 1-0-2, so he's doing a great job of it, but it's cool to see Curse giving him so much freedom when he's this new to the team.
He's already got a sight stone as well, so the early gold has given himself an extra little vision control right here. They try to put some harass down. Lemonation, though, has been camping for High a lot here. We've really seen these lanes just be very, very different. Dual lanes mid and 1v1's bottom.
Yeah, the AD carries haven't even had supports with them this whole time. It's a very awkward opening to the game, and the really only thing we can track progress with is the farm score. Now Jackie's a little bit down on High, but Cop is even more up on High, so it works out for them.
That's very, very good then. Those amazing minion last hits just from the Cop, who's just been not even touched here, farming and scaling throughout the game. He'll hit those big items first, and that might be something that Curse can capitalize on as this game progresses. Saint grabs his blue. He's actually taking those for himself. We'll see if there's any moves made here because Jackie has hit level 6. This could be Curse's time to start moving.
And I really want to see when Cop starts getting into team fights with Draven because that's the main trouble for them. The flash takes Saint Fishes over the wall on Sneaky, but TF comes too.
Here comes the damage output. There's Saint, the ult as well from Cop, and they just find that kill onto Ezreal. He was not sneaky enough.
The skirmishes are being dominated by Curse right now.
Yeah.
They have the pressure on Cloud9, which is a new one because Cloud9 has dominated the map in their previous 2 matchups, but Curse has really taken this game control for themselves.
This will be a true test for these guys then if they even can play from behind, but also it's a new look for Curse. They're actually winning early game for once, so that's always a great place to be as well. Now putting themselves 2,500 gold ahead. The Dragon is theirs. I'm sure they'll equalize turret soon enough.
And Curse has a very roam-heavy composition too, so it's a good thing they're winning the early game. They're catching Cloud9 out of position and using their composition to its fullest potential, but one thing they got to be careful of is St. Vicious has 2 of those kills. Edward has 1 of them. They haven't gotten kills onto Twisted Fate or Cop, so this gold lead could be a little deceiving as this game moves late.
So here we go, mid lane then being pushed on because remember, turrets of course give gold as well, so these kills don't mean everything. The hook's going to come by on a Meteos, but I feel like he's probably the safest guy to hook anyway. He will survive that. Turret's not going to quite go down though. There's too much pressure from Curse. Cop showing up saying, get off my turret. Jackie has pushed bottom though. Looks like High will be able to absorb most of that farm though.
Curse has got to be careful not to lose turret control for how well they're going around and ganking. Otherwise, their gold lead is going to be for nothing, and Cloud9 would just be able to item back up and start winning some team fights. But good hold there mid, and Curse should start putting some emphasis on turret pushing.
It's actually an interesting thing as well because if you are winning by kills, you still have bounties on yourself. You turn those kills around and suddenly you've actually given a bunch of gold back to the opposition. That might be something Cloud is looking for. But however, Saint's going to look for balls here.
Right on top of the equalizer, but I don't think it matters.
Not at all. Beautiful orchestration right there. Void tanks it out. And of course, Saint had pulled turret aggro, flashed out of that one to make sure he would survive.
3-0-0. We knew Void Boy was going to do well in that lane once he started with First Blood, specifically because of how good he is at Elise as well. So great play there, and Meteos just having to go up to hold the turret.
And Void's doing something interesting here as well. He's gone for a fast Spirit of the Spectral Wraith on Elise.
Yeah, I think that's just for lane sustain for the most part. He's got a lot of spell vamp action coming. You can see after that turret dive, he's almost healed up to full already. Not only does he heal from his spiderlings when he's hitting in W, he's also healing from all the spell vamp.
Oh, great little itemization choice right there. We talked to Nintendo yesterday, and he said, yeah, I bought a Ancient Golem on accident and decided Tank Fiddle was really, really good. Voidboy's finding some new uses for items as well, and making it work pretty well. Edward's still on the roam, puts the ward down, does spot high, but he's not going to say do much to him, really.
No, High was well on the retreat as Edward's still just roaming around, but he's keeping pace just fine. He's created a bunch of pressure for Curse, and it will really come into play during these team fights. One thing about Draven is a lot of people can lane Draven. It takes a special player to team fight as Draven, and I need to see, as Kopp is new to the champion, if he can pull it off. But St. Fishes is not making Ball's life easy.
Wow, they're just going for him over and over and over again. The ult used as well. The damage might just be there. The next chase, there's the slow, and look at that. Saint just turns around and says, yeah, you got that. Void repels back to a minion line. Another kill. Ball starts out 0-3.
That's actually the last gank that Voidboy is going to want to have St. Fishes come to help him with for Balls, because the gold value of Rumble is getting lower and lower, and it'll actually be a waste of time for St. Fishes to go up there eventually. But a nice hook by Head.
Wow, Lemonation is probably going to go down. Maybe not. Crescendo comes across. Ignite will take him down. Edward picks up that kill. 2-0 on the Blitzcrank. Meteos won't turn it around. This turret might even be Curses.
The last tick of Ignite's picking up a couple of kills for Edward. It's not like he's taking these things intentionally. That was a kill secured. Actually, no, they both ignite at the same time. So a little bit of a miscommunication, but they still got it down as Meteos tries to save another lane.
And it's just barely surviving. Curses still goose egg as far as turret kills are concerned. Oh my gosh. Ball took the right way through the jungle. Maybe not. Will Void stay for it? Meteos is nearby, and you just might sense that Void's not going to go for it.
Voidboy thought that was a bait. Just by the way Balls dipped in and then came back, he thought Meteos was in the wings, and he could see him in blue with that ward as well.
Yeah, so good warding there by Voidboy. Absolutely make sure he wasn't running into his own sort of trap. Ironic that you spring a trap and get caught out by your own one. But Kappa, you saw him take some poke there from high. This mid lane under siege, and Sneaky's going to find that. However, here comes NY Jackie. Sneaky flashing away. Still getting caught, though. This could be enough damage. Here comes Meteos, so they have what it takes. Edward did not need to secure that one, but heck, he's 3-0.
The Fist of Pain coming out from Edward right there. 302 on Blitzcrank. Maybe that kill wouldn't have been secured, and it's kind of crazy to think it's 9 kills to 1, but Cloud9 is so focused on getting these turrets down that they're still up 2 turrets to 0. If Kurtz gets these turrets back, they're going to be in a huge advantage, but they do have to be cautious not to lose some team fights. Otherwise, those bounties are going to pay huge dividends for Cloud9.
Yeah, that could be absolutely massive. Right now, though, it's a 3,500 gold lead, so as long as Kurtz can keep that pressure up, and there they go. The first turret of the game is going to go to Voidboy, and that's going to make that even bigger, and he's still going to go onto Rumble. Ignite is on as well. He might just have the damage. A lot of punishment. There's a Cocoon as well. This could just be enough pain. One more Q. He's going to go for it. Nice pick up there. Voidboy burns the flash, but worth it.
Voidboy's feeling pretty confident about that lane, as you can tell. He's just kind of moving his head to side to side after that kill. He's up a full Spirit of the Spectral Wraith on Balls right now. It's 6,000 to 3,400 gold in that top lane. That's like, he's basically fighting against his support right now as far as gold goes. That's why he's able to just dive on him relentlessly. And if Voidboy wants to join the fight, he can. Or if he wants to keep punishing this top lane, he's going to command that Cloud9 sends multiple people.
Yeah, and he had such a commanding game on Tryndamere before that. You can see him, no matter what champion, tends to do amazingly well by himself. Now forcing High back, bringing him down to about 2/3. But we'll see if Kha'Zix can have better results here. The Manamune and the 2 longswords trying to scale him up.
And this is Curse more embracing the split push pressure style they had in the first win of the day, because once they realize that High is sucked top to deal with Voidboy, Curse just groups around the dragon and takes the other objectives.
So really, really good stuff, and you're seeing them. Yep, there they go. The dragon has just spawned, and Curse says, yes, please, thank you very much. Kopp happily. It's ironic, he's on Draven, he's still kind of playing supportive here. He's helping the team take objectives, and is otherwise just holding a lane so far, and the team is doing work. Voidboy splitting top just again.
But it's been long enough that Cloud9 has sent all 5 people down for this dragon, and Voidboy's continuing the split push in the other lane. Curse might have enough farm that they could win a 4v5 here, but this is another one of those dangerous smite steal attempts that Curse continually gets sucked into. I wonder if they're going to go. Doesn't look like it.
Yeah, it's a big risk, and High right now is playing the zone. Nice attempt at a steal right there. The hook plus the Draven ult. Tried to send it down there. Meteos still grabbed that, so good play there by Cloud9. And Voidboy, though, does trade the secondary top turret, though, for that dragon. Again, they're not dealing with them.
I think that Voyboy was going to get that turret in time anyway, since he is such an unstoppable force in the top lane on Elise. So it was good of Cloud9 to send all 5 people down for that Dragon. But now they're trying to chase after him. They get this bounty. It's huge.
They just do, and Balls gets the kill credit. He's going to catch up 500 gold and get himself much closer. High 250 for his troubles. And here we go. Thought I might get back in.
A max bounty is worth as much as a turret.
Yeah.
So because they got that kill gold-wise, even though they lost the map pressure, it's now just the Dragon that they got. That was no longer a trade that Cloud9 opted into. That was just an advantage.
The one thing it does is reset Ball's death cap, though. So he's worth 300 again.
Yeah.
And if Voyboy can keep 1v1ing him, it's like Voyboy died on purpose and said, yes, please, now you're worth more, and I'm playing the long game.
He's putting coins in the piggy bank.
Yeah.
So he can keep pulling them out.
Yeah.
Smart.
So Cop right here is down to the bottom lane, taking the farm. 138, highest in the game. I guess tied with Void at this point, but he is scaling up well. You're right, you talked about we haven't seen him team fight yet, but he's going to be powerful at the very least when he gets there.
And he's full Magic Pen as well in that build. I think that's going to be a Sunfire Cape as the next item for Voyboy, and he's getting to that item threshold very quickly. But even then, 17 minutes in, only a 4,000 gold lead. Nothing insurmountable after watching that COG game just previously.
Okay, so these battles will just continue to go back and forth, or even choosing, I would say, I was going to say different style on how they're going to win the game, but the thing is Curse has now picked up 3 turrets, so I can't say that anymore.
Yeah.
Curse are basically just winning on a lot of fronts right here, and it's kind of on them. I mean, they're the veteran team. They should know how to push the games down, but since we've seen games get turned back, it's kind of on them to keep the pressure on.
And Curse is a team who's not afraid to dive when they're ahead. Sometimes it gets them in trouble, but they also win a lot of games quickly because of it, and they've also come back very well because of it. So we'll see if St. Fish's trends towards that, as he's got a lot of tank items and a lot of gold built up already. But as it is now, Cop and St. Fish's are getting a lot of damage out on this bottom turret.
Oh, wow, the stand aside actually stopped Meteos' knock up there, so he did not get in on Cop whatsoever. No fight started. There's a 2v2 brewing, and Sona's coming down as well. They might go for a battle. There's a scrap shield. Cop's threatening to run away.
Yeah, they're gonna be getting out of there because there was a lot of pain coming through. Voyboy stealing the blue buff right now while all that action was happening. So Curse still trying to take the advantages as they come.
One thing I do want to point out, actually, speaking of the advantages that Curse has, is they have a complete ward lock on Baron. A little while ago, Ezreal burned his ult to check that out. High's lurking in for Void. Void knows about this, though. 2v2, the battle's going to start. High takes a bunch of pain, has to jump out. Will it be enough? Here comes Void. The damage almost there. High trying to run with Ignite. He should just barely survive that with 14 health. Ult's burned on both sides.
That's cutting it a little bit close to Draven. Nope, doesn't get him either. No harm done there.
Nice try.
But that ward lock that they have on Baron is an increasing amount of threat, and I wonder if Curse is going to try to turn that into some kills.
They've certainly almost done that so far. That counterbait was nearly right there. Saint and Edward back to the mid lane. The pressure, you said they're good at doing it, and I mean, they're still making moves.
And Cop doesn't even have boots yet on Draven, so the team fights, he's just going to stand still and rush people down. I feel like Curse is actually far enough ahead to maybe make that work, but a bold item build nonetheless.
And Sneaky again had to burn his True Shot Barrage to scout on Baron. That ward lock has really hurt them. It's basically made Sneaky not have an ultimate, which could be a pretty big factor in a coming team fight.
And we talked yesterday too about the blue Ezreal, which is the build Sneaky's going for right now. Didn't have a good day yesterday, especially because people are building it when they're behind. It's difficult to get going with that. Sneaky has to luck into a couple kills at this point if he wants to be effective on that build, because it has such a high gold threshold. For the items, you really need to make it work. You need the Iceborne Gauntlets as well as like a Transform Muramana. It's going to be a bit for Cloud9 before that sneaky build really starts working.
He's only 1/3 of the way through Mount Amune, so certainly a long road still to go. Balls is just going to clear out some of this jungle. Right now, I mean, Cloud9 are sort of scrapping together farm where they can get it. They've certainly been really controlled a lot more than any other team has so far this split, and even in the qualifier.
Yeah, they have not been handled like this in any games we've seen. Now it's a matter of Curse trying to rush down the Baron. Curse doesn't kill this Baron that quickly, and Curse should try to peel for a fight. Maokai's around the side, can probably get an initiation if he wants it.
They're going to look for something. They nearly on the cocoon onto Lemon Nation. Meteos has been caught out. There's the equalizer. It's going to go in. Nijacking forced to Zonia. Sneaky caster in a very, very safe place. Void taking a bunch of pain. Double kill picked up for Balls, and here comes the team fight. 5v3 right now. Sneaky forced to flash away. Saint still chasing down, but Saint's in the middle of the enemy team. Cop gets one cleaned up. He's going to go in for Meteos as well. Splits him into Bloblets, but High picks up another kill. There's now only 2 alive right now for Curse. High gets another kill. It's now up to Cop. Can Cop make this happen? He's 1 versus 3. Has to back out. Got 1 kill. but a beautiful team fight for Cloud9.
1 for 4, and that team fight was so good for Cloud9. Everybody sat on top of the equalizer, and it gave Balls that double kill despite a horrendous laning phase against Voyboy. Curse did not go in with a good game plan for that one. Kopp could not get to the priority targets he needed. Some of that had to do with him not having boots yet, but that is a turning point in this game for Cloud9. Scary team fighting.
Absolutely impeccable, and the timing was so lucky for them too. I say lucky, it was likely even planned. Balls had finally hit level 11 for rank 2 equalizer, had Stork choosing Haunted Guys anyways. Even though he was behind, he had those 2 Magic Pen items and just pulled it out enough in that laning phase as the team kited around. So Cloud9, I think they've been celebrated for team fighting, but Lemon Nation is going to take a hook to the face. This could be enough. St. Vicious and Voice show up. That is an Oracle's dropped away. Curse have found so many picks on a lot of them because of Edward.
Oracles, Kill, and Dragon, just because Edward's landing those hooks. Very solid regrouping by Curse there, but the gold lead is not the same after losing a fight like that. They need to almost scatter and get kills like that if they want to win, it seems like, because the straight-up team fight really didn't work for them.
No, it did not. But you know what? When you got power plays like this, when you can keep taking global objectives, maybe that's all they really need to do. Well, that said, as Dignitas for CLG showed us, team fights tend to still matter a heck of a lot in these games, despite early game leads. So, Curse looking for the next move. They're up 6 kills. The power play is over. The respawns have happened. Elimination walking his way back to his team.
And High is really farmed for Cloud9. 173 on Kha'Zix, 3-0-3. He's actually second in gold in the game to Voyboy, who has been destroying 8,400 to 8,100 when you compare Voyboy and High, but that is scary for Kha'Zix. Kopp doesn't have very good ways of getting away from him, and the only peel Curse really has is St. Vicious, who wants to be initiating. So Kopp may get eaten in about 10 minutes when High gets some bigger items.
Let's see if Kopp can keep himself out of the jaws of Kha'Zix then as this game moves on through. Jackie trying to wave clear. The minions dying to the turret a little bit. Certainly Cloud9 not able to dive a turret right now. I actually talked to High about ending games a while back after the qualifier results, and he said, yeah, you know, we get ahead early on, and then we aren't afraid to tower dive when we're ahead like this. We'll just force things on them. But of course they can't when they're behind.
Even at the end of games, Cloud9 just like rushes Nexus turrets down in what seems like dangerous situations, and it usually works for them, but they're playing now and positioning like they are ahead, even if they aren't. So we'll see if this ends up punishing them.
I suppose they do feel a little bit better in team fighting when there's so much, they're much less single
There's that turret dive, and it missed.
It did miss. They've got to run away. Nice slow right there, but Ball's taking a bunch of punishment. Saint's going to find him as well. That is not good. Crescendo is used, and Cloud9 is trying to run away, but Edward is on the chase. The Destiny there as well. That's going to try to find High, but High will leap away. Meteos leaps away as well. Those two have gotten out, but Edward is close. No, he's been slowed down too much. The Kha'Zix will escape just the one for nothing. Now let's see where Curse goes.
Curse only gets 1 kill, but the push is pushed back for Cloud9, and maybe they'll get a turret out of this. Kai did not take damage, though, and has a lot of threat poking in. There goes Meteos!
And the damage on Nijak, he's forced to Zhonya's back. Do they have the follow-up they need? High gets the reset. Can he keep on going? Flashes away from Maoka. I don't know if he needed to do that, but Meteos is still chasing. He goes for the knockup. They land damage on Saint. Saint goes down. High could chase, but Edward is there. They've got to be a little bit afraid of this one. Edward's trying to block.
Looked like High was waiting for his full spike of damage before he decided to go in, because if he would have jumped as soon as he got the reset, Kopp would have blown him up. But that was another great fight by Cloud9, using their extremely long-range jumps to deep position Curse and really get on a Kopp and push him back. Now they're forcing a Baron. This is another one of those aggressive play. Hook falls wide for Edward, and that Baron's falling pretty fast.
It's falling fast indeed, and Saint is not around, but Cloud9 are taking some damage. Will the re-engage happen? Blue team has slain Baron Nashor. C9 has that. They're shining purple. They're going to run away. No deaths. They got that one.
This looks like we could be in the midst the third comeback of the day, because Curse came back in the first game, CLG came back in the second game, and Cloud9 was pretty far down in this one as well, but they are winning these team fights really well.
Chat, do you want to see another 72-minute game?
Yeah,
I kind of do.
I think it would be cool. I might die a little bit, but it would be pretty cool. I don't think it's going to get there, though, based on how well Cloud9 can engage if they get a lead, how willing both of these teams are to all-out brawl, and the lack of disengage from either one of these teams. I don't think this is going to be as long a game as the last one.
Okay, so explosive fights then in store for us. No Janna to turn them back around. It's a bunch of people going ham. Let's see what they can do about this. Nijaki gonna keep clearing up in the mid lane. Sneaky now given the red buff to accentuate just how much lizard burn he puts on enemy champions when he pokes them with stuff. And he's nearing that Iceborne Gauntlet. Just has the Sheen and the recipe to go.
Yeah, he hasn't picked up any kills himself, but he is still farming, and because High's Kha'Zix is such a threat, and the equalizers are getting people so low, Sneaky will be able to kind of use that as the utility Ezreal, not so much as a carry, which is what you need to do for that blue Ezreal build. It has to be on a team with a lot of external sources of damage, so he can be utilized for that utility.
So the kiting gonna come out here. Cloud9 ready to push again in the mid lane. Saint has to get himself back to mid after shoving bottom down a little bit. He's waiting very wide here, trying to just hide away from wards.
And they're expecting a dive from Cloud9 here, because Cloud9 has Baron, and they dove the last one without it. So Saint just wants to catch their backline before they get there, but Cloud9 has other plans.
Meteor's gonna jump in onto Saint. The Destiny comes by. The rest of C9, look at that. They group up against the TF ult to make sure no one gets picked out. They say, okay, Jackie's not coming. Let's get ourselves back here. That's one ult down for Curse.
Really coordinated play. Cloud9's team fighting is what has separated them and won them some of these games, especially in that TSM game. Their team fighting was amazing, and it's definitely carrying them here.
A lot of damage onto Saint, damage onto Jackie as well. More poke coming by, and Meteos again just trying to dive in, take some damage and backs right on out. That turret's gonna go down 4-4. Cloud9's not done though.
Yeah, they're going to keep going. This Baron's still got about 2 minutes left, and that's a cannon minion. He's going to be able to take a few hits. They want to get the damage down, and they have enough patience. As long as they're not getting hooked in by Edward, they have a lot of poke, and the dive potential is always there.
The ults are indeed there. The rank 3 ult, even from High, upgrading the Void Assault as well for some damage reduction when he pops that in a team fight. Gonna make him dive a little bit more here. The rest of Cloud9 losing a lot of their minions though. Ult's coming across from both AD carries to wave clear, but again, the pause button still, the Draven ult stopped Cloud9 from going in.
There's actually not a huge rush on Cloud9 right now. Both of their mana munes are at 700-ish, so they're both very close to getting the Muramana transform. So even if Cloud9 lets this Baron run out, they will be almost as strong in team fights just on the fact that those items have transformed into their final awesome items.
That's going to be fun for them if they can get those and just spike people out. One of the big upgrades here for Sneaky. Edwards looks for a pulse, and Meteos is going to go in. Everything's coming across. The crescendo hits on 3. High gets 1 reset. He's now on towards Boy. The backline's getting jumped on. Cop goes down to balls. 3 kills picked up in this fight, but they turn one back. Jackie forced to Zonias. This might not be good for the Twisted Fate, and he will fall over. A 4-for-1 battle. Cloud9 has control of the Curse base.
I think we're going to get into a pattern here as the season goes on. When Cloud9 has Baron, they're diving inhibitor turrets, because this is maybe turning into a fast game. They both get Muramana at the same time, actually, Sneaky and High, as they get the inhibitor with a 4-for-1.
They don't stay for too much more, though. The inhib says, yeah, that's all we really want right now. We'll let Void clean up the rest of this one. You're still a scary spider guy. We're going to take Dragon instead. That'll be ours, and then we'll continue from there.
And it shows how little Cloud9 cares about the gold, or how little it matters in this game, because they can't see the total gold totals that we can. But the way they've been playing the last 5 or 6 minutes, you would think everything's went as planned for Cloud9 this game.
Exactly. They've found exactly the pushes they wanted. They've gotten that Baron. They've gotten a lot of team fights. Even the ones that ended up being mishaps, they still turned around at the end. It's just Sneaky getting himself closer and closer to that build that he wants. And it's funny, too, because we talk about, man, Ezra needs some time to unlock. He wants that Iceborne Gauntlet, but they're bypassing that and saying, yeah, we'll team fight anyway.
Yeah, so much of the farm went on to High. Balls and Meteos are comboing so well. The range of initiation by Cloud9 is just so immense. Also, it's a kind of a side, but Lemonation bringing heal on Sona is a late game summoner choice.
Yeah.
As he levels up, it actually becomes one of the best summoner spells in the game just for healing everyone, and that got used in the last fight, helped keep them alive as they were diving turrets.
And he's continuing to build more area effect items for his team as well. Actually builds the, I'm thinking that's Shurelia's in backwards order. Right, he goes for the Kindle Gem and then goes for the Philo Stone. He's not actually worried about the gold. He's worried about CDR, stats, and then getting the Shurelias for his team. Yeah,
and Cloud9 wants to end this game sooner rather than later. They can see Curse pushing up the mid lane a little bit. Everyone on Curse has to get back there because they know Cloud9 does not wait around.
They do not, and look at the damage output now on this turret. Just the 3 of them is going to probably be enough. The recalls had to come back from Curse to defend themselves, but this makes turret number 6 here. Cloud9 finally putting themselves in the lead here, up about 2,000 gold, and they don't show signs of slowing down.
I wonder if they'll dive this without the Baron buff. They've won the fight so decisively. If they clean out the wards there over on the left, we haven't seen Lemonation get there with his oracles yet, but I wouldn't be too surprised if they go for it since they have the Muramana transforms and since they already have the one inhibitor down. They don't need to, but that hasn't stopped Cloud9 in the past.
And they've just gotten the blue buff as well, complete control of the map at this point. That's going to give High lower cooldowns, more poke, and just a scarier champion in general. So they've got some good buffs here for the dive.
Yeah, this could be it for Curse, but they are keeping those waves very well pushed. I'm thinking since we're only 50 seconds onto the next Baron spawn, that Cloud9 is going to be pulling some tricks around that, and they might just be holding Curse here for the duration.
That'll be a fun setup to watch right now because Curse have already gotten the ward control. Despite losing control of the map, look at how well Curse have still warded the left-hand side jungle, the river towards Baron. That is a credit to Edward for saying, man, we're screwed a little bit here, but I still got the wards down. Ooh, it's a minion, but Meteos is going to go in.
And that could just be a scare tactic, but Safer just counters.
He's going to take a lot of damage right here, but has the ult down. The equalizer hitting only Saint right there, but that could be enough. Meteos takes a bunch of pain. Lemon goes down, but they find one back onto Voyboy. However, Curse have held onto their base so far. We'll see if they might try to re-engage. Destiny has been popped. The pull onto Meteos. That could be what they needed. He's taking more damage. Forced to flash over the wall. The Ignite burning him down, but he should survive that.
Really clutch flash and clutch hook. Just clutch plays coming out from both of these teams. Gold is still close, Baron is down. Cloud9 has total control of this game, but a 1-for-1, if you start it in the right way, if you start the next fight in the right way, Curse could have a chance.
So here we go, Curse trying to recollect themselves after an early game crush and a mid-game turnaround by Cloud9. High is lurking in the shadows, looking for prey. He's got teammates nearby as well. Ward comes across the wall.
He's waiting for Cop.
There is Cop. Let's watch. Oh, he knows from the lizard movement that High was waiting in the brush, and Cop's like, no, thank you.
That tricky minion AI. The lizard moves towards the closest target, and that's who he aggroes on. So that's a free scout tool for Cop. And it's a good thing, too, because he wasn't going to be long for this world.
What's the chance that Edward specifically didn't melee them to give like extra targets to that lizard?
Lowish.
Okay.
I think he would have stayed away from the lizard to avoid accidentally stealing it with his passive.
Okay.
Or his static field. I know we like to give credit to Edward, but that might be pushing a bit.
Fair enough. So, Meteos, ooh, great stand aside there by Draven. Cop forcing Meteos away from that one, not making that fight start, but the Baron is now up. There's an Oracle's elimination. Cloud9 wants this one.
So many of those early kills that Curse got onto Edward and St. Fishes haven't transitioned into team fighting success for them, whereas all the kills that Cloud9 got went onto their solo laners, which is one of the reasons they've been bullying so long. But this Baron fight is going to happen soon. Meteos, no problems going in.
And there we go. The jump in from Saint is going to be on top of everybody right now. Puts down the Maelstrom, but there's the re-engage.
Wow.
And the reset's coming up. Voidboy's going to go down 3 so far. Edward forced a flash. Cop the only one left, really, as Sneaky chases down 1. Edward will fall down. Cop likely as well, trying to kill off High. Actually, Cop gets 1. Can he do more here? No, he will not. That is only Edward actually lived, by the way. Sneaky gave him away. And now Cloud9 going for the base.
And Cloud9 still has super minions. It's a 4-for-1. Just the support alive for Curse. Inhibitor respawn's going to fall in a second. What a great fight for Cloud9. Everyone on Curse walked through the equalizer and then got crushed.
And they've got 20 seconds of power play left. They look for the bottom lane. No, they look for the mid lane. They want to get the Nexus right now. Can Edward buy enough time? The turret, first one down below half health. He gets the pull on Meteos. There's some damage. First turret goes down. They go on to the second one. Ult comes off. Edward's still trying to do damage, but this might not be enough. This will be the Nexus almost surely going down. Cloud9 looking to hold their undefeated streak, but the re-engage is here. Is it going to be enough? They keep on the Nexus, and they get it. Cloud9, another win.
17 kills to 16 kills, not nearly as flawless as some of their other victories, but they still came through. Sometimes the comebacks are the most impressive victories for these guys. 3-0, surprisingly the only undefeated team left in the North American LCS.
And the newest one as well. Such great play by these guys. I gotta hand out a couple of MVPs. High 6-1-9, highest gold on his team. Certainly his teammates donated him some lane farm, but he got 2v1 from the start. They had a rough early game, and he still pulled through as a carry.
And the team coordination and the team fighting, keeping the map pressure up even when they were down, and then just turning the team fights is so key. Curse has to think about how they let that lead slip away, because you can't let that type of lead fall if you're going to be a world-class team, and that's it's what they're going to have to work on as this week continues.
We've got to find a way to strangle it out. They have at least gotten one win so far, so they can at least go back to that and say, look, we know how to win this game, right? We know we have the playmakers. We know we can pull people out and make things happen. Every team plays 5 here in week 1, and every team has 10 weeks as far as calendar weeks goes of games still to play. So there's a lot of room for these guys to go, even if it does start out rough.
And for Cloud9, it didn't start out rough.
No.
And this was the first sign of like mini adversity we've seen them have to go through, because you got to see a team that plays so well with the lead. What do they do when they're behind? They play like they have a lead anyway.
Yeah,
is what their answer was for this one, and they just won it with team fighting. Who's going to be the first team to knock off Cloud9? Because they're the very early leaders of the LCS.
TSM and Curse definitely looked the closest, right? So they've given some
Those
really...
were very close games.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Those both could have gone either way. I mean, easily the other team could have won it, and you'd be like, yeah, it was a really well-played game. Good job them. They knocked down Cloud9. But, of course, C9 still has 4 more opponents still to run into. There's a lot of guys still to play. I actually do want to show off some of that team fighting, though. We've got a replay of that first Baron fight. Jad, if you want to take us through it.
And this is the one that really turned the game for these guys, because watch specifically the equalizer that comes in from the Balls Rumble, who was 1-4 at the time. It hits everybody. It completely bisected that fight. Voyboy died beforehand. That was the big shutdown. And Cop is trying to unload on Sneaky, but everyone over chases. Now they're cut off by the red buff, and it was just positioning, resets, and mainly the placement of the equalizer that did it for them here. Such a great fight by Cloud9, just not letting Cop roll through and get involved. Remember, Cop didn't have boots in that fight, so all the mobility that Cloud9 had built into their composition just outran him.
And just the coordination between the R buttons, right? You said the equalizer was beautiful. I was watching the rest of it. Crescendo hit 2, then True Shot Barrage hit 2. They hit the same targets together, and just things blew up. I gotta say, teamfight coordination is probably one of the most beautiful things to watch in this game when they get it right.
And I just want to see Cloud9 continue to play. Keep in mind, we're not even halfway through the first Super Week. We're done 9 games. We got 11 more this weekend, 3 of them today.
Yeah, and it's gonna be a fun one. So guys, coming up, Cloud9's High and Balls join us to talk about their perfect start to the summer split. Plus, Kobe's going to break down the day's biggest plays so far. Don't go anywhere. Week 1 of the North American LCS Summer Split. We'll be right back.